I just ran 15 miles. I get to eat a whole pizza today. Have you ever wondered why you gain weight while you run? Look, we all like to train for marathons and we think it's a great way to get in shape. But the thing is your body's going through so much. It may be inevitable that you gain weight as you train for a marathon or half marathon, or you just like to run. And these are some of the reasons why it happens. You're never going to be able to outrun a bad diet. That's just the way it goes. I've heard from countless people, including myself, that I keep gaining weight as I train. What's going on? If you're anything like me, this may have happened to you. You find yourself in the kitchen with the door open to the refrigerator going, oh my gosh, I can't wait to eat this, and this. Or you may be in the pantry pulling out all kinds of crackers and chips and all the things that really you shouldn't be eating, but you do end up eating, and then you're like, why the heck did I just do that? There's many reasons why people gain weight, and just because you're a runner, it doesn't mean that you're going to lose it. It doesn't matter how many hard interval trainings you do, how long your long runs are, and it doesn't matter even if you're trying to burn off a little bit of steam after a very stressful week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, or after a 6-month project. Weight gain is weight gain any way you look at it. I've been doing an experiment over the last 8 months to figure out what works, what doesn't work, what you should stay away from. Losing weight is not easy. Losing weight is difficult. And as you age, it even gets harder. Look, if you're in your 40s, your body's gone through so many different changes. The fifth reason you're not losing weight as a runner is because your body is breaking down its muscle. There's a lot of inflammation that happens, specifically if you're a new runner. And your body, your muscles, there's a lot of inflammation going on. And if you've got a lot of inflammation, there's a lot of fluid that your body holds on to. So really, what you have is a case of fluid retention. Now remember, I'm no doctor. These are just some of the things that I've experienced and I've found during research, trying to figure out some of these things and people that I've spoken to. And so if you are running a lot, specifically if you're running fast, you're tearing down your muscles, you're breaking them down, and your body has to have time to repair them. And as your body is trying to repair them, it has a lot of inflammation that goes on. There's a lot of fluid retention, and your body just needs to go through the process of healing. And the fourth reason why you're gaining weight as a runner is you're having too much added sugar into your diet. It's not a good thing. And if you're snacking on all of the chocolate bars and all of the sweets and sugary food, look, you're never going to outrun it. Even if you're burning high intensity, even if you're doing HIIT training, like the high intensity intervals, it's fine. You'll be able to burn off that readily made sugar. But the thing is I find when I consume a lot of those products, it makes me want to have more when I stop and I start to go towards all of the sugary foods that I really don't want to have, but I'm craving it so badly that I just, the discipline just falls apart, and I sit there just eating sugary cake or chocolate bars or something, and I get mad at myself, and I'm like, I'm better than this. But I've noticed that. And so I say these things because you're not the only one. If this is happening to you, it happens to me. Look, I'm a Canadian. Wherever you're watching from, whether it's California, Texas, Florida, whether it's Europe, you're over in the UK, Italy, Malaysia, wherever you are in the world, look, we all have our vices. We all have those foods that bring us comfort and joy. But we all know what that sugary crash is like, and it sucks. So just know, from me to you, yeah, it does happen, and it's something that I'm very, very aware of, and I'm doing my best to remove it from my training. But I'm a human being, and human beings fail sometimes. Now, I also like these long, slow runs because I've become more efficient at burning fat. And that to me is a win, to be quite honest, because I really need to lose some extra weight. Number 3, the reason why you're holding on to a lot of weight is because you are replacing your fat with muscle, and you will gain muscles as you become stronger, as you become a stronger runner. That's just a fact. So if you're in the gym, if you're at home doing just free weights, whatever it is, you're building muscle, and as you build muscle, you're replacing the fat. And as you build muscle, you do tend to lose some weight. However, it gets replaced by the muscle. Now again, this is very simple terms. I'm sure it can get very complex. I'm not here to discuss that because I'm no expert in that aspect. I'm just speaking from my perspective of what's happened to me over the last 8 months. And I flip-flopped with my weight. I've come down, I've gone up, I've come down, The third reason why you're gaining weight as a runner while you're training for a marathon, half marathon, or you're just running for fun is because you're not getting enough sleep. Sleep has been tied to weight gain. I know that. I've experienced that over the last number of years. And if I don't get at least 6 hours sleep, I find that my body be able to burn fat doesn't work very well. Now, I don't know the real reason because of that. All I do know is that it's happened and I've tracked it, and I do know that not getting enough sleep has to do with your circadian rhythm, the time that the sun goes down and we should be asleep, but we're awake. It's not healthy. And I know with a lot of shift workers, some of my friends, it's one of the things that they've noticed is they tend to gain weight when the shift work shifts to nighttime. The second reason why you're holding on to a lot of weight or you gain weight as a runner is because you're putting a lot of stress on your body. You're putting it all, like with all the training that you do create stress. And if you tie that together with the stress that you're under while you're working, or if you've got family stress or financial stress, cortisol is that hormone in your body. And if it's present for a very long period of time, you tend to hold on to a lot of weight. I know that's what happens to me. So I really have to make sure that if I'm about to go into a training block, that I'm actually doing everything I can to mitigate a lot of my stress. Because I really don't like it when I'm stressed out and I have to train. You can lose weight just by running if your routine boosts your activity level beyond what it was before. But if you've never really exercised and you start running, even just around the block every day for 30 minutes or so, you're going to burn more calories and you're going to drop some weight, unless you fall into the trap of eating extra. More on that in a minute. But when that amount of running becomes routine, maybe you run the same 3 miles on the same 3 days every day for months on end, your weight may stay stable. To be clear, you're still burning calories by running, but you're not burning more calories than you did before. So if you run the same and you eat the same, you'll still weigh the same. To burn more by running, you need to change something up. Maybe you go longer, maybe you go faster during certain sections. The number one reason why you gain weight as a runner is you are overcompensating. Just because you go out and run a 16-kilometer run or you've just done a 10-miler, it doesn't mean you can go home and simply put yourself in the pantry and eat everything that you're looking for. It doesn't work that way. I know when I was training for my ultra marathon, I was putting in some long mileage and they were very, very slow mileage. It was very, very slow training, right? A lot of Maffetone training, not very much speed work at all, if any. And I had to watch myself that I wouldn't come home and overcompensate and just overeat everything I wanted. Like some of my runs I would finish and I was just craving pizza, or I was craving chips, or I was craving something. What I was craving was leafy greens and salt and electrolytes. I didn't need all that other stuff. But if I wasn't prepared and I didn't have it with me when I finished, I found that I would like pretty much gorge. I'd eat everything in sight because you just burned off so many calories, and you're low on your electrolytes and everything else, and you just want to eat. I don't know if you're like me, but you know, after a 3-hour run on the trail, man, I'd devour anything. OMG, I could go for a pizza right now. It's gonna take me everything I can not to go in. But I don't have my money. I don't have no wallet with me. So fight the urge, Dave. Fight the urge. Do not go in. Okay, I'm walking away. But there's some days where that doesn't happen. And I find that when I'm fueling myself extremely well on my run, I find that I don't get very hungry. And so I won't go home and just devour everything in sight. You have to be mindful. You have to be prepared. You don't want to find yourself in a position where you've done all this training and then all of a sudden you're eating all of the wrong foods and you're packing it all back in again. And you're like, yeah, look, don't get me wrong. You have to eat. You have to fuel your body. You have to fuel your runs. You have to recover smartly. Just don't feed it all of the other crap. Now, there are some ways that you can help keep the weight gain at bay. And what I mean by that is you could be using like MyFitnessPal or any of those food trackers while you're training. That way you can see what you're consuming and what you may want to stay away from. It's just a general guide. It's not like you need to be hyper focused on it, but it's just something to really consider to see what it is that you're eating and how much of it that you're eating, because you probably don't need everything that you are eating, if that makes sense. Another very big important point is you have to make sure that you're fueling your body for the training that you are about to start. Because if you don't fuel your body, if you start eating less and less and less because you're so obsessed with losing weight, then you will run into problems if you're trying to actually train to run a marathon. And so that can also result in injuries. So fueling your body, getting the rest and recovery that you need is going to be all different for everybody. The big thing I just want to make sure that you guys understand, and I'm sure that you already do, maybe it's just a reminder. Look, I'm no masters, I'm no Olympic athlete, I'm just a guy that likes to help others figure this stuff out, and I'm more of a mid-pack kind of guy. And so being able to get the rest and recovery, specifically after you finished running, is super important. So I'm going to show you what I eat when I come back from a run, so that way you guys have an idea of what's going on. I just stood in front of this camera for like the last 4 minutes and it wasn't filming. So I've already done a bunch of things here and I'm gonna have to redo again. When I come back in from a run, like I have now, typically what I'll do, not every day, but I'll make some almond milk. Now when I say make almond milk, that's right, I make my own. So I fill up this container, it's called the Almond Cow, that's the name of the company. I'll fill this up with 5 liters of water. I get a little hopper like this, and I'll put in a bunch of almonds. I'm not measuring right now because for the video, but usually a cup of almonds, some salt I'll put in here, some date for some sweetness, and then I'll take the top of the Almond Cow. It's got a little blade on it. I'll put that on there, and then there's a button on the top, and I press that for a minute, and it cycles through 3 times, and then once it's finished, I can take out that and it makes almond milk. Then I'll take the almond milk, I'll fill up my little shaker here, and then I'll put in some plant-based protein. I like the chocolate one, or the vanilla is also good. And then I'll take that, I'll put it in my thing here with my milk. I'll give it a blend. Yeah, I'll blend it up and I'll sit here with my beans. I'll have beans as well, and sometimes I'll have an avocado, and I will also have a can of club soda. Now, it's not pop, it's actually sparkling water, just carbonated water. You could very well be training using the wrong type of fuel. Look, what I mean by that is, whether you are a marathoner running very, 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 very slowly, or you are somebody who's running 10Ks and doing a lot of HIIT training, high intensity training, both of those are 2 different types of sports. Yes, they're running, but one is burning a lot of carbohydrates, and the other one is burning a lot of fat. And so when you are trying to train your aerobic zone, you're going to be burning fat. You don't want to be running too fast, because as you run too fast, all you're going to be doing is burning your glycogen storage. And I think you can store about 2,000 calories in your body, like in its muscle, and I think it's in its liver. Anyways, don't hold me to that. I just finished my run and I'm trying to think about the things I wanted to say. Or as you are thinking about how you're going to fuel, you need to figure out what type of running you're going to be doing and what kind of foods you want to be consuming. And carbohydrates, like, I try to stay away from all the breads and the pasta and the baked goods, because honestly, none of that is going to be good for you. So even after watching this entire video, you're still confused about losing weight while you run? Well, think about this. It takes a deficit of 3,500 calories to lose 1 pound. Ideally, you should target for 300 to 600 a day calorie deficit if you want to lose weight safely and healthy. This means you can expect to lose 1 to 2 pounds per week. Checking the scale every morning is going to reveal very little about your long-term progress and your actual state of your weight. If you weigh yourself every day, you're simply measuring day-to-day fluctuation in your hydration levels and non-other essential weight metrics. Running and eating healthy, but gaining weight. Here's the deal. You burn more calories while running than most any other activity that you can do. Unfortunately, while the energy demands of running are high, this does not mean that you can eat a Big Mac and a donut guilt-free and still lose weight. I often hear runners rationalize their diet intake by saying, hey, I ran 5 miles today. I deserve it. I was in that boat, and it doesn't work.